Welcome back to the channel. In the last video, how to use the parallel threads in the .NET, we talked about the multithreading using the Parallel.For, Parallel.ForEach and the Parallel.Invoke. If you haven't seen it, the link is in the description. Go and check out it. So these methods, Parallel.For, Parallel.ForEach and Parallel.Invoke are great for speeding up the task, but they don't return the result directly. They just run and move on. So in this video, I will show you how to get the result from each thread and wait until all the threads are finished. So for that, we will use a real example of one GET API that calls the two different APIs at the same time and combine the result into one single response. So let's jump into the Visual Studio and see the example in the action. So here I have created one single thread controller. This thread controller calling the two different mock APIs, and we are combining the result of the both mock APIs and give a single response at the particular GET API's response. So you can see here there is a one API is a mock API is retrieve data from mock API 1, the function. The second function is retrieve data from the mock API 2, and both have some response 1 and response 2, and we combine both the response here and we are returning as a GET API's response. Also you can see we have added one stopwatch, and the stopwatch will give the total time of the both API's response. So here you can see the single thread API. I'm executing this API and you can see there should be a two response, mock API response 1 and the mock API response 2, and we have one total time of the execution for the both APIs. It's like a 1279 milliseconds. Okay, so this is the process of the sequential API calls. When we are calling this single thread API controller, it will call the two mock APIs sequentially one by one, but the issue is look like that we don't require to wait for one API's response for the another one. So we can think about a parallel threading. So one API call will be a first and another API call will be simultaneously when the first one is executing. So let's talk about parallel threading with the response of API 1 and the API 2. So for that parallel threading, here we have created the parallel thread controller, right? In that controller we use the same two mock APIs to get the response, combine the response in the single response as a GET API's response. Okay, so you can see we have a one retrieve data from mock API 1 and retrieve data from mock API 2, the same functions for retrieving the data, right? So both API will be same as we have the single thread controller, but the changes look like that we have created the task 1 and the task 2. So task 1 will be working parallelly and the task 2 will be working as a parallelly when the task 1 is executing. So task 2 will not wait for task 1's completions. So task 1 and task 2 both will be working in the concurrently parallelly. So after that we required data from the task 1, means the mock API 1 and mock API 2. So we have to wait to get the data from both the APIs until we executing other process for the response. So here we added the task.waitAll. So waitAll will use for waiting the some tasks which are currently executing. So task.waitAll we use for the waiting the task 1 and waiting for the task 2. So after we are getting the both the result from task 1 and task 2, that will be calling the other functions like a sw.stop, and we will combine the response and return as a response. So you can you can see here like task 1 and task 2 are uh, working as a parallelly, and the task dot wait all used for the wait for execution completion of the task 1 and task 2. Also we will get this task 1 and task 2's response, because we required in the our get API as a response. So same thing, we have added the task 1 result, task 2 result, and the total time of the execution for the both APIs, mock API 1 and the mock API 2. So let's see the example in the browser, and we can see the how many milliseconds are coming for task 1 and task 2 parallel thread. So now I am calling this parallel thread execution, and you can see the response is the mock API 1 and the mock API response 2. Also we will see the total number of the milliseconds. So here the total number of milliseconds are 794. In the single thread we got around 1200 milliseconds. Yes, 1279, and here we got the milliseconds around 794 milliseconds. So you can see the difference between the both APIs execution, right? First single thread API took much time than the multi-threading controller, right? So when we have some type of functionality which we can do the multi-threading, in the multi-threading we have to use the multi-threading parallel threading to increase the performance of our REST APIs, right? So the simple thing is like, if you have the require some response from the multi-threading, you have to use this type of task, right? Task 1, task 2, and if you don't have required to return any response, you can use that Parallel.For Each or Parallel.Invoke, which we described in the last video. So if you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe for more .NET tutorials like this. If you have any question, please comment it out so we can create a video on it. And thanks for the watching. Happy coding.